So, a new question. What's one responsibility you really wish you didn't have? Well, I would bet most of us could make a long list there. I'm just going to say being the bad guy sometimes, having to enforce policies that are difficult when it means that somebody's going to be hurt or unhappy. That's a really hard thing for me. What do you wish your brain was better at doing? Letting go of worry, letting go of hurts or fears or anxieties. I wish I didn't cling to stuff so well. I'm too good at that. If your childhood had a smell, what would it be? Lots of great options here, but I'm going to go with popcorn. I've said before, my mom used to make popcorn on the stove, and it was just a happy time. And I think that's a nice fragrance that just connotes family time and togetherness. And use it in the evenings, gathered around the TV or just as a family. So those are really happy memories that I have. So I would say popcorn. In your group of friends, what role do you play? I think I'm just pretty easygoing, pretty quiet. Usually not one to make a lot of waves. I'm pretty laid back. Which of your scars has the best story behind it? I only have a couple, but one is not that long ago. I have one on my foot, a scar that I was carrying three pieces of glass. They were shelves that inset into wooden shelves. And I picked the three pieces of glass up lengthwise. It's a silly thing, but I reached down and picked them up, and the middle one slid out and landed right on my foot. And I wasn't wearing shoes, which was very smart. And it just landed right on my foot and cut the top of my foot. I bled all over the carpeting. I had to call my sister, who came and took good care of me and cleaned up the carpet and made sure I got to the hospital, the emergency room, and that was not good. And I think it was right before Christmas or Easter, so it's typically when things like that happened. What have you created that you are most proud of? You know, I have a specific homily that I remember from Holy Thursday one year, and I was so proud of it because it was very short. It was about 10 sentences, and I really felt like it tied everything together at the beginning of the Triduum about the foot washing and about the exiles leaving Egypt and going toward the promised land, about the gift of the Eucharist, the call to service, the gift of the priesthood. I'm really proud of it because I think in just a few sentences, I feel like I was really able to capture the mystery of the Triduum. I don't know that anybody really enjoyed it that much, but I thought it was pretty cool. What do you strongly suspect but have no proof of? I guess you could say there is proof of this if you're a scientist and you know physics, but I really believe the air is not just empty. I believe there's a lot moving around us in particles, and I guess there's proof of that. But to me, I think there's some kind of a spiritual entity around us, whether it's people who've gone before us or others who are there to accompany us and shepherd us in the right direction. I firmly believe that. I've experienced it, but I guess you could say there's no proof of it all the same. What are some of the turning points in your life? Wow, that's a good question to ponder. I think when my family moved to Kansas City when I was 5 years old, it was a great turning point. When I graduated from grade school and went to high school, that was a huge turning point, a big shift in my life into a much bigger world. I don't know that I was fully ready for all of that, but that's a big turning point. I think when I made the decision to go to the seminary, I was a sophomore at Rockhurst University, Rockhurst College in those days, And I went on a retreat for a weekend at Conception, and I came home convinced that it was the right thing for me. That was a great turning point. Uh, Ironically, years later, leaving the seminary was a very significant turning point in my life because I came to realize that I really needed to grow up before I could really freely choose the priesthood, and before I could really present myself to the diocese to be chosen and called. Um, Going back to the seminary, obviously, was a great turning point. That was a great year. The year I spent in a parish here in Kansas City at Church of the Risen Christ was a great turning point. Being ordained was a great turning point in '93, and that was really life changing. I don't think I realized how life changing it was going to be, spiritually or just practically speaking. That from then on, I've been living a vocation that has been so life giving, full of blessing, very challenging, and that has certainly called me to keep learning and evolving and growing. Um, I think experiences of building are really good for a person. Those are turning points in my life because they teach you have to trust in what you don't see. You have to trust in what a community believes and what a community has the power to do. What bends your mind every time you think about it? Uh, I've said before, I love astronomy, cosmology. I think the whole concept of the expanding universe is just mind bending and super cool. I love thinking about that. I love thinking about just galaxies upon galaxies in our universe, and all the possibilities that are out there is that's just unfathomable to me. But like a good mystery, it gets better the more I think about it. The more I think about it, the more I want to think about it. What's the title of the current chapter of your life? Uh, Many good choices there. I think a strong sense of finally feeling like I've gotten to land somewhere and be grounded for a while. I think I think I look at this as a real time for me to give back. I've received so much in my life, so giving back I think would probably be a good title. Um, and for me, I think a lot comes together. The older you get, the more things come together, and I think that could be a good title too. Things come together. Uh, so it's and I think this is a very liberating time in my life. So liberation or freedom, that could be a good title too. I know it only asked for one, and I think I gave four. Among your friends or family, what are you famous for? Uh, I think mostly just being laid back and being calm. And maybe I would throw in there that I'm a bargain hound, and I love shoes. So I guess I have some claims to fame among friends and family.